Hello, everybody. It's Paul with reporting live from my sofa, and we are going to be going over yet another aspect of the Chris Watts case, specifically Cindy Watts and a little bit of Ronnie Watts for this video, as you can already tell. So we're going to be talking about the sentencing video, the victim impact statements. So this video conjured up a lot of emotion for people, myself included. And I just sat here and watched it again to kind of make some notes what I wanted to discuss. And even when I watch it now, I mean, I've seen it so many times at this point. But it just makes me so mad because I'm just like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for her parents sitting in that room and just listening to all that going on right then. So let's jump into it. I'm going to go over some of the points that stuck out to me with this video. So first of all, the thing that came to me was the fact that the attorney got up there and spoke for the parents in the beginning. Now, I understand some of that because there probably is a lot of legal limbo or jargon, whatever, that needs to be discussed. And that the lawyer's like, look, let me get up there, state these things, yada, yada, yada. I get it. I respect it. On that same note, I felt like the lawyer said so many things, and that basically she was doing a little bit of public image damage control, like when she kind of talked about the apologize for the interview behavior from Cindy and things like that. I was just like, really? I just feel like this is kind of them trying to save face a little bit, and mostly because of what came after all that. And again, like the lawyer going into, look, we acknowledge that this took place in the way that it did. We don't condone this crime, but it just, it wasn't her parents saying it. It was an attorney. And so it lacked that type of emotion. And so that part, and for how long it was, I mean, it was the majority of the speech. So then Cindy gets up there and she starts talking. And so the first thing that I watched in this case, like aside from headlines and things like that, was this video. And so I hadn't gotten in on all of her behaviors yet. So when I was first watching it, like the very first time, I was just like, okay, she seems a little weepy, a little teary-eyed. But then when she started talking about her son Chris, immediately she just falls apart. And it was so obvious the difference in behavior. And I was like, ugh. When you sit here and compare her behavior a couple of minutes ago when she was talking about her grandchildren and, her daughter-in-law, which I feel like barely mentions her. And now she's just falling to pieces talking about her son who just killed them all. And she goes on. And so the pinnacle of her speech is when she turns around in the courtroom and tells Chris that she forgives him, she's going to always love him and that type thing. And, she'll always be there, whatever. And again, I think I said this in one of my other videos. I understand that that's her son and there's going to always be that connection. But then there's another level that she's taking it to, and I think it's her control issues, her narcissism, her obsession with her son. Because when she did that, I was like, Shannon's parents are in the crowd right now, and the entire world's watching you. And while I get that that's probably appropriate to tell your son on visitation day, turning around and doing that's not the place to do it. And I also thought that it was interesting her body language, the way she did that, because she turns around and it's almost like she is turning her back on that situation, like she's trying to take control. And it was really the only real emotion I saw out of her. I mean, because when she talks about her grandchildren and all that type stuff, I mean, it's just very much like, this is what I'm supposed to say, and let me give a few sniffles. But with my son, it's, I'm going to turn my back on the situation. I'm going to look him in the eye as best as she could. And really just try and own the situation. And I think that just relates back to her severe level of narcissism. Okay, so then after all that takes place, it's time for Ronnie. The lawyer comes back up there. And she just reads his statement. And I was listening to it and I was just like, okay, I felt like in his statement, he at least acknowledges Shannon a little bit more than the mother did. But again, I'm not hearing the father speak at all. I'm just watching him, very passive. just kind of standing there. And I think that's probably very symbolic of the role that he played in that family. Um, and maybe that worked on some levels because he very well could have been like the calm person of that situation, which could be why Chris was like, when Chris confessed and he was like, no, mom, you stay behind. I just want dad. I could see where his father's passiveness probably benefited that situation. His mother would be in there trying to control everything or whatever. So when their attorney is reading the impact statement from Ronnie, again, I'll have to say I'm glad that, and just the attorney said this, I believe. I'm glad it was reiterated of, we hope to get a full confession. We hope that you can at some point, tell the whole story so that everybody can get closure. Because that needed to be said. So I'm like, okay, that was good. And again, she goes into the whole, we're going to always love you. You're our son. And while I'm like, okay, that's nice to say that, let's not put such a major emphasis. Like, let's be aware of, other people's feelings and the fact that her parents are over there. I mean, you're talking to the man who just took out their daughter and 3 children, one of which wasn't even born yet. And, Chris just sits there so sheepishly. And I'm like, well, what else is he going to do? I mean, my God. I hope he was extremely uncomfortable and just wanted to crawl out of his skin because, what else would you do in that situation? I felt like Cindy probably could have written Ronnie's statement that he gave to the lawyer, and honestly, she probably did. I don't know that for a fact, obviously, it's just my opinion, but just kind of the way she is, I'm just like, yeah, I'm sure that, I don't know how much the father wrote, maybe he approved it or whatever. So, overall with this, I just feel like I really wanted to see, both Cindy and Ronnie speak their feelings and emotions. I wanted to see a little bit toned down on the whole, you're our son, we love you, we're going to forgive you immediately, this, that, and the other. Because the fact of the matter is, that's their son, they're going to love him, but he just wiped out his whole family in a very heinous way. Extremely just, vile. And so when you start piecing together the other aspects of Ronnie and Cindy to this, I think that's what, at least for me, it does, and I think maybe other people too, is you kind of see like, wow, this whole family has some pretty severe things going on, and you can kind of see like, well, okay, I'm believing why Chris, I see how this happened, if this is what he grew up with. And so I think that's what just really intrigues, aside from the heinousness of the crime, it really intrigues the public, is just the spectacle that it's been turned into, because the parents just seem like total, whack jobs. So anyways, that's my 2 cents on that right now. I'll probably get just as worked up over it again when I see it again and have to make another video. But maybe not, hopefully not. Anyways, I hope everybody's doing well. Thanks for your support. Hit subscribe, hang out with me in the comment sections, and I'll talk to you soon.